600 ESPN El Paso, River Oaks Properties, Schoolyard Sports Studios, along with Adrian Broadus. I'm Steve Kaplow. It's Alberto Duetta and Michael Plundo here as well. We got a busy show today. In fact, we're going to start it off with a very special in-studio guest. Plus, Christopher Kid Reed is going to be here in an hour. Excited about that. Tim Haggerty in Storytime, and maybe Lane Frank will be here as well. But first, Luis Rodriguez back with us from FC Juarez, and what a run it's been in the League Cup right now. They're playing in Denver tonight, and Luis, welcome back to the show. It's great to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, good, Steve. Thanks for having me. Great to be back.
Great to see you, too. And I was surprised at first because I thought, well, FC Juarez has had such a great run in the League Cup. I figured for sure you're in Denver. When I realized that you had the chance to join us in studio, I was shocked, pleasantly surprised.
No, how things work out. It's been a busy summer with all the friendlies that we had. Obviously, school being out, so I took a few days off, spent with my kids. We were back in Miami where we used to live. We had a board meeting yesterday, so I was back for that. Right, and so I travel at the end of next week. I have a family wedding in Hawaii, so I want to spend some days in the office. And also, we have a big watch party tonight in Twin Peaks and Sunland Park. Right, so the biggest thing for us is promoting FC Juarez in the community. So I wanted to be there.
Love the fact that you're at Twin Peaks. They do a lot with soccer, and they've been a big supporter of us over the years. So that was my Friday home for many years. Happy you guys are going to be there tonight.
Great spot, and some great live soccer.
No doubt about it. Meanwhile, are the kids back at school this week? First week at EPISD?
Well, the kids are not back. They fly in tonight, so it's not that I have to go pick them up from the airport. So they played a little hooky the first 3 days. Hopefully their principal is not listening.
Nice.
So they will be back at school first thing Monday morning.
Okay. Well, listen, we give them permission. We'll give them a signed permission list for that. But that's fun. In the meantime, big match coming up tonight. And by the way, big run so far in this League Cup. And I think I was talking to Alberto and Adrian about this, and I was thinking, could there be a way to kind of jumpstart the season and have something that gives a team that needs some momentum so badly a little extra to really propel them when they return to Liga MX? And maybe for this League Cup run, this could be just what the doctor ordered for FC Juarez.
Yeah, when I was here maybe a couple months ago, what I was mentioning is, and I truly believe that we are the best prepared team going that went into Leagues Cup. And I'll tell you why. We had a fabulous preseason, New Mexico United, Club America at the Sun Bowl, Deportivo Cali. Then we played Eintracht Frankfurt. First 4 games in Liga MX are really tough teams, right? So we actually came in very, very well prepared, and we're seeing that now. Great win against FC Dallas last week, and obviously St. Louis on Sunday night. So for us, it's been great. Obviously, the positive momentum going into Liga MX in a couple of weeks.
Where do you put these MLS teams in terms of when you watch these games and really see the quality of talent that's on the pitch with what you're used to watching with just Liga MX action in general?
No, MLS teams they've got great players. Like FC Dallas had Omar Gonzalez, who played in the national team in the World Cup. They had Paul Arriola as well. St. Louis FC had Tim Parker, who's on the national team. He's actually a fellow St. John's guy, many years behind me. Right, so the quality is there. We've just we've risen to the occasion and we've done really, really well.
Do you almost feel like MLS and Liga MX are on like a similar level now? Because I know for the U.S., the biggest challenge has been to make MLS and up the quality to the point where it's a legitimate landing spot for premier soccer talent all over the world.
Yeah, it has. You have the best player in the world today playing in MLS, Lionel Messi. And so I think Liga MX woke up and they thought MLS was going to take 20 years to get there. They woke up; it took a lot less. You're seeing brand new stadiums, seeing $500 million franchise fees to come in, like San Diego FC did a couple of years ago. So it's now up to us, Liga MX, to rise up to the occasion and be on the same playing field.
Tell us about the Frankfurt match and how that went over for them being here for the first time.
It was a great experience for people who weren't following our social media or watching the game. Frankfurt flew in on a Wednesday night from Louisville in the charter. We received them at the Plaza Hotel. We had a reception upstairs with a live mariachi band that played their club anthem. They loved it. They had Mario Götze, who scored the winning World Cup goal in 2014 against Argentina. They were posting on social media. And probably the coolest experience, aside from the match, first time in 40 years we had a team in the borderland from Europe, was we did it the way people in the borderland do when they crossed the border. We walked the bridge. We walked over. We had a bus pick us up on the other side with Frankfurt. We played the match. we went back to the bridge, and we walked back over to El Paso. So I think they had a great borderland experience and wrote us a great thank you note. They had some reservations when they first took the match, but they left saying they'll definitely be back, and it was a wonderful experience.
That's fantastic. I mean, that sounds to me like that is the best possible thing that could have happened. And maybe what it'll also do is it'll open the door for other European powers to want to hear about this, and they're going to want to follow suit, and in years to come here to play.
Absolutely. So we know, as we always say, we're the borderlands of major league team. So there's no reason why we can't have the top teams in the world come to the region, and we can showcase what we love about the desert Southwest.
Luis, was this a goal of yours? Because you have all those connections that you've made over the years in FIFA. So I wondered that when you took the job here and came back home to work for FC Juarez, was the idea of bringing European soccer powers here to play friendlies something that you thought would be just a great idea to kind of give FC Juarez fans and fans from the borderland, for that matter, soccer fans, a chance to see some really unique and premier matches?
Yeah, 100%. What comes to mind is I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. So when he won the Super Bowl, he always talks about a quote that his father used to tell him, and he says, well, why not us, right? And so when we came here, when someone said, can we do a European friendly? And I said, well, why not us? We can definitely do it. We can definitely do it like LA does it, how Miami does it. So let's rise to the occasion. Let's do it. Let's start small and build our way up. But there's no reason why we can't have a Champions League team here come play next summer or the summer after that. And I think our ownership saw that with the friendlies we did in El Paso and in Juarez.
I wonder, though, are there a lot of European teams that come to the States every year to play a series of friendlies, and possibly there it gives you the opportunity to get in on this? Because you mentioned it. Frankfurt flew in from Louisville. They didn't fly in from Europe. So if they're already here in the States, it's got to be easier then to maybe extend the trip and have them come through than it would be flying somebody from Europe all the way to El Paso.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a puzzle, right? It's a bit of a puzzle where the team wants to do preseason, right? Can they fit it in their schedule? I was listening to the show a couple of days ago when you had the UTEP AD on. He was talking about planning schedules from 2032, right?
Yeah.
So global soccer works in the same way. You're talking to clubs a year or 2 years out to see how their schedule is. Are they going to be on the East Coast? Are they going to be on the West Coast? Can they fit a game in, what they want to do? And also there's a financial piece. It's very similar to college football. We pay these teams to come, right? So we have to do the economics and see, hey, can we make it fit in the P&L?
I'm assuming this one did fit in the P&L just to make sure that future matches would be possible.
It did. We were really strategic in how we did it, and it's no secret. So the Bundesliga is trying to grow in the U.S. They provide a subsidy to any Bundesliga team that plays against an MLS team or a Liga MX team. So that brought our risk very, very down.
Nice.
Right? It lessened it a ton. So we were able to, Paul, Alejandro, Woody, and Josh, and Alan Ledford very much were in favor of the game. So, we didn't lose money, which is the most important thing, and it set us up for a good situation next summer, hopefully.
Are there other leagues like Bundesliga that have a similar structure with their clubs trying to do the same thing?
Not what I know of. The English Premier League is really trying to grow in the U.S., and what I mean by that, we all know the big clubs, the Chelseas, the Cities, the Uniteds, the Tottenham Hotspur, the Arsenals. They're trying to grow the smaller clubs like a Wolverhampton, like an Ipswich, right, like a Norwich, right? So we may see those teams. The reality is it's a balance. We have to find out what fans like here. You have to bring in names. You have to bring in a team that people like. It's a very mature soccer market, as I've always mentioned. We had more people at the Sun Bowl, right, to watch Club America. We played them 4 weeks later in Juarez than we did against Frankfurt, which is a world-class team.
That's wild. And by the way, I know that match went over very, very well, 30,000 plus, so congratulations for that. And you told us the last time you were here to talk about that you want to play more matches in the Sun Bowl, that this is not just a one-off. You want to have the opportunity to have and showcase your club on the FIFA turf, which has been FIFA graded, like you mentioned, for future opponents in years to come.
Absolutely. That was a great experience. We had great partners in UTEP and their special events team that really helped us put on a great showcase Sunday night, prime time. It's probably the only stadium that's nestled within 2 mountains, right? And so even Club America had a great time. They want to come back, so we want to do that next year.
Luis Rodriguez here with us right now from FC Juarez as we start the show off today. Do you feel almost that because the preseason and exhibition schedule was as difficult as it became, that prepared this club more now, finishing up Leagues Cup and then getting ready to resume league play here in a few?
Yeah, our team, we ended the season, what we call the Clausura season, back at the end of April. The guys had 3 weeks off. They came back third week of May. So they've been together for pretty much almost 3 months now, right? And now we've added some great new signings. Alex Mendez, that's come over from Vizela in Portugal, right? A young Mexican-American guy who also played at Ajax, Carlos Salcedo, who used to play with us a couple of years ago. We've just re-signed. You'll be seeing them tonight in Leagues Cup action. Diego Baloyes, who played in the Colombian national team, had a very bad hamstring injury, was out for 10 months, played again Sunday night against St. Louis. So we're pretty much at 100% now.
It sounds to me that getting injured players back and adding a couple of key pieces is what could be different between the club now and what we might have seen here a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it just provides more confidence to the guys, right? So when you're in the 70th, 80th minute, our first 4 games, just so you know, we gave up goals in the last 10 minutes, right? Whether for a tie, we lost the game like we did against Pumas and Club America, right? And so against FC Dallas, we scored our second goal in the last 10 minutes, right? So you're seeing the team mature. Now you've got these guys coming back from injuries, the new signings. So when you're on the field and you're seeing these guys coming in, you're saying, okay, hey, we got what it takes. Let's do it.
But it also takes a while. Sometimes you're not going to gel right out of the gate, especially when you bring in new players. You need a couple of games under your belt to get comfortable. Let them get comfortable to the speed of what they're used to, and then everybody starts to really get going.
Yeah, and you also need that blend of experience and youth. You need the youth guys, who are hungry to win, and you also need those guys who've played in big games and know what it takes, and they can put ease when things are getting tense. They've been around big time situations. As we always say, big time players win big time games.
What about Don Sebastian and his performance in net in this last contest?
Who?
Sebastian, I think it's I got to remember his last name.
Who? Perez Bouquet?
Yes.
Arsenal? Yeah. I think he's great. He's on loan to us from Chivas, right? And so we think very highly of him. And the great thing about Sebas is he has really, and then we'll talk about Sebastián Jurado in a second. He's really weathered through the storm. He's had a tough time, and he's always been there. And he's definitely a guy we're very keen on. Sebastián Jurado, I don't know if you watched the match on Leagues Cup the other night. A little gamesmanship with the St. Louis team. He's an excellent keeper. He's been on the youth national team, right? So we expect big things from him, and it's tough because he's got Benny Diaz behind him, right? So it's tough for Benny as well. But Jurado's done an amazing job. Jurado
was actually who I was talking to, because I know on your Twitter and X site they call him Don Sebastian, which I liked. But I saw some big saves in net, and that's important. And you said it. I mean, some very some skilled goalkeepers getting tested and having the opportunity to prove themselves. And I guess it also shows you that even though this isn't Liga MX, the Leagues Cup's a big deal. And if FC Juarez can go out and win it all, that would be a very big accomplishment heading back into the season, wouldn't it? Yeah,
it's a huge deal. So Sebas Jurado, he's been our man of the match in our first 2 Leagues Cup games. He's made some tremendous saves in addition to the penalty shootout on Sunday. For us, Leagues Cup is a great opportunity to grow our brand in the Southwest and in the U.S. The game in Dallas, I can tell you there were about 7,000 people at Toyota Stadium. Half were from the Borderplex.
Really?
Wearing FC Juarez jerseys. Tonight in Denver, there's a huge contingent of people from either from Juarez or El Paso who live in Denver.
Wow.
So it's been great for us, So we really like it, and we look forward to competing in it every year.
That's terrific. And I didn't even realize how many people will go to Denver and go to Dallas and support you and be there for you, because we know about El Paso when you're playing in the Sun Bowl. We don't necessarily know about people traveling in other parts of the country.
Yeah, so we've got a group of fans who travel to every single game. But now you're starting to feel that that away NFL kind of culture of, hey, we're playing in Dallas. Let's reserve a couple months in advance. Let's meet up at a bar beforehand. Let's tailgate. Let's provide. And that's the thing that for us, we really one of the few teams, probably the only team in Liga MX, who has that American tailgating pregame experience.
So tonight you've got the Rapids, and that's going to be 7:30. It's on Apple TV for MLS Season Pass, but you mentioned the watch party out at Twin Peaks Sunland if you want to head out and enjoy with some friends and see it with a great atmosphere. After tonight, what happens from here?
So depending how we do tonight, we either advance. We're going to play the winner. If we win, which that's what we're planning on doing, we will play the winner of the Houston Dynamo and Toluca. That game would be in Houston on Monday night. So let's see what happens. If we lose, we're eliminated. Our next game is August 24th against Necaxa. And by the way, after the match tonight, our Bravas FC Juarez Femenil plays at 9 o'clock. They're playing against Mazatlan on VIX.
And they've also had a big win to talk about this past week. So it's been a good week for FC Juarez.
It's been a great week. We started off with some injuries, 0-3. Now we've got 3 points. Now we're in the driver's seat. We're ready to finish off the rest of the season.
Very nice. And I know you got Jasmine back, and that's a key component. She's been injured, so she comes back, helps spark the team a little bit, and have them to start rolling from here.
Yeah, as you know, the Bravas for us has been, it's a huge it's a huge brand for us, how we're trying to go. We're the only team, as I mentioned before, who's represented at ownership level in Liga MX by a woman, by Alejandra La Vega Foster. So the Bravos is something we're really proud of and really want to showcase the city.
So we want to get Bravos and Bravas players on the show. So we'll work on that and see if we can do that. We've had Bravas already because we had Jasmine and one of her teammates join us here about, I guess, 2-3 months ago. That's right. That's right. And now if we could do it again and have some other players from both sides, that'd be terrific. Because I know FC Juarez, well, look, your goalkeeper we know very well from last year with Locomotive FC. So you've got some good ones.
Yeah, so we got two new Mexican Americans now. We can bring Alex Mendez, who's just joined us. He's obviously perfectly bilingual. So we can bring, actually, we have a new sporting director, Fran Sanchez, who's come from Spain. Right, he's bilingual. He's worked at big clubs in Spain like Elche, like Valladolid, who's owned by Ronaldo, right? Also Granada. So he's also someone with a lot of experience who can really add a lot of value.
Excellent. We'll plan on coming back with them, and we'll get a chance to see you guys real soon. How many more rounds are left in Leagues Cup? Let's say you win tonight, you win on Monday. How longer until we're crowning a champion?
We're at the round of 32.
Okay.
Round of 32. That's where we exited last year against LAFC. And obviously the final is August 25th. So the quarters would be on Monday. The semis would be later at the end of next week, and the final on the 25th.
Now wait a minute. You said also that you're back at home. You're back in action on the 24th, correct?
Correct. That match would be postponed as soon as we get that
I was going to say, because if you're playing back-to-back matches, that would be a pretty impressive feat to be.
No. We need the rest, and that game would be postponed, God willing, if we make it that far. But there's no reason why we can't make it that far.
Could we ever see any of these type of matches in Leagues Cup at the Sun Bowl, or do they have to be played at MLS stadiums because it's against MLS opponents?
No, we can. It's a great question. I worked at MLS for the better part of 8 years. So when I first started, I was in New York at the league office, and we spoke about this. And they were interested to see how we were going to do it the next year. And one of the reasons we played at the Sun Bowl, and one of the reasons we also played against Frankfurt, was to kind of test and show MLS that we can do this. So next year's the Club World Cup. Right, there will be some matches at MLS venues. It will be saturated. So we could have a situation where we have a Leagues Cup match here in El Paso or in Juarez.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Would love it. In the meantime, take care of business tonight in Denver. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. I know you bring up shows, so that means you're listening to us when you're not on, and we appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I think what you guys do is great. You're very active in the community. You really follow all the teams and really provide a lot of pride and passion, and are proud of the local sports scene. So we thank you. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for having me on.
I'll tell you this much. We were in Cruces yesterday. I promise you we will be at Benito Juarez sooner rather than later before a big match. Count on it. And we'll look forward to giving you some expanded coverage and doing a show before a big one here before long.
We'd love to host you, and then we can have a margarita afterwards at Kentucky Club.
Fair enough. We'll do that. That'll bring back some memories. I appreciate that. He's Luis Rodriguez, folks, and he joins us here on Sports Talk. We'll come back with plenty more. 20 past as we go to Charlie 1 with this traffic update.
Stephen, the El Paso Metroplex, a couple of rough edges here. First of all, in Central Gateway East at Cleveland, we have a crash, but it's going to be PD activity here, maybe tow truck, Gateway East at Cleveland. Let's go to the east side. Busy intersection here. Your shopping areas, Zaragoza and South Kleinfield, have a crash PD there. Where are we top of the brakes? Top of the brakes, I-10 East, Copia, 2 Reynolds, CD Lanes West, and Mesa, top of the brakes. Closure going on. There's some construction. Gateway South at Sun Valley, take away the right lane. Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Remcon. Approaching 78 years in business. Thank you. Original family since 1946. The famous tortilla soup, popular Mr. T specials. Family owned and operated. Leo's Restaurant, 7520 Remcon, Charlie 1600 ESPN El Paso.
Our thanks to Luis from FC Juarez joining us on the program. He had a lot to say tonight. Twin Peaks, Sunland Park, 7:30. The big matchup coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun to check that out. And want to see another victory for FC Juarez to get it done. 505-6009, our telephone number, 505-6009. Michael Plundo will have Sports Center for us here at the bottom of the hour. Kid Reed from Kid and Play, he's in town, along with George Jimenez. There's a big comedy show this weekend, a benefit we're going to talk about with them. At 5, possibly Lane Frank, story time with Hags, and then another early end to the show today as we get you out to the ballpark. Tim Haggerty will have the call for you at 6:05 for the Chihuahuas and the Sugarland Space Cowboys, Game 4 of their 6-game set. So excited about that and looking forward to it here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Meanwhile, I'm seeing some of the news that has broken as far as the Olympics go. We've got women's golf going on right now. Rose Zhang from the U.S. is 2 shots back. And again, kind of interesting to see third-round action, the best in the world playing in Olympic golf. We talk about tennis, we talk about swimming, we talk gymnastics, we talk basketball. Breakdancing has started. Have you noticed that, guys? Olympic breaking is now officially underway.
People were really looking forward to this one just to see how it's scored, to see how subjective it really is. I was seeing a lot of controversial takes on that. How do you really judge breakdancing? Well, just watch it. It's pretty fascinating, man.
It is. It is. So that's also something to talk about. I'm noticing it looks like we've got diving going on right now. I do love watching Olympic diving. I'll say that. I'm old enough to remember when Greg Louganis banged his head on a dive and cut his head while he was in the water, and I think he ended up getting stitched up, and if I'm not mistaken, ended up winning the gold in that particular Olympics. But yeah, it's crazy to see the degree of difficulty on some of these dives that get performed and just how terrific the movement control is going into the water. Alberto has informed us earlier this week that he was a swimmer back, or is a swimmer now. He likes to swim. Have you ever gone up to any of these type of high dives before and tried any particular kind of acrobatic dive or jump?
No, not at all. I don't appreciate belly flops or back flops, so definitely not. The only time I remember getting on a platform that was that high was when I was too young. I was like 5, and my family had a reunion at a pool that had one, and I was just looking over the edge, and I was too scared to jump.
Now, wait a minute. You went to a house that had a high dive?
No, it was like a pool.
Okay.
It was an event.
10
meters is too high.
Because you watch this, like this guy right now, it looks like he's from China, is about to do a handstand on the diving board. Look at this. He's doing a handstand. He's completely now vertical and then pushes off with ridiculous spin, body control, and lands. That is, you think about the amount of concentration and training that goes into that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's all about the entry into the water, right? It's about not splashing, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
And he had a little bit of a splash as he went in. But still, that's, again, guys, you look at these dives and you just you marvel at the best in the world in all of these sports in the Olympic Games and just how good they are.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people have said similar things. I really just wonder how many flips I could get in those 10 meters that they fall. And I'm not a flipper. I'm not like a person who can do a flip.
So do you think you can get like one flip in?
Maybe, I hope.
Michael Plundo is also with us right now. Like that right there looks like, that was a gorgeous dive.
That was a better one than the first one.
That was terrific. Michael, how many flips do you think you can get in off a high dive?
For a person that can't even do a backflip off the diving board, probably 0.
Okay. Like when you watch these guys, they are holding like the back of their knees and they're grabbing that as they make these perfect flips and then land usually about as perfect as it gets. You don't find belly flops. This is not watching like Frank the Tank try to jump into the water. This is a little different when you're watching these divers.
Okay, my question is, so they jump off of this platform and then they grab their knees and do they close their eyes or do they keep them open? Because if you notice, they let go of their knees and prepare their body for entry into the water at the perfect time. It's also about timing. This diving is about timing. So how do they know how far the water is?
Look at this. Here's another one. This is a Japanese diver. Handstand. Pushes off. Oh, but the land didn't look that good on that one. You're right. By the way, and you can't tell if their eyes are closed. Like his eyes are open, and it looks like he's almost asleep. And then as soon as he pushes off, it's impossible to tell. And sometimes they put their hands on the back of their head as they're twisting. It's incredible.
It's about style. You get style points. So
I'd be afraid of these kind of dives. I don't know about you guys, Adrian. I don't think I could do it. I think that would freak me out too much. I just remember as a kid going off on the high dive when we were here at the JCC back when it was open in the early to mid '80s, and I was doing that, and even going that high up, which was probably, I don't know, that was probably about 15, 20 feet up. That freaked me out, and that board had give on it. So when you would go off of it, it would spring on the spring up and down. It wouldn't just stay static. That thing had some give to it.
Yeah, I remember UTEP had a higher diving board at their recreational pool, and then when I was growing up, it was like the summer test, like who could actually climb up the ladder and who can actually get off, and actually dive into the pool. So, I mean, maybe this is like a 7-foot ladder, maybe a 10-foot ladder, nothing too crazy. But I would tell you, Steve, like as a 4th grader, 5th grader, 6th grader, it was like the test of whether or not you were chicken or whether you were chicken. So my cousins and I had to do it. I was peer pressured to do it, and the ones who didn't do it, they were the ones who were laughed at. So I did it.
Well, I just remember we had a low dive and a high dive. And on the low dive, we would jump up in the air and try to catch footballs being thrown at us from people that were in the pool to see if you could catch it before you hit the water. High dive, it was like, all right, your body's starting to shake a little bit as a kid. You're, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grader, and you're just thinking to yourself, okay, let's just make sure I don't fall off and bang myself somewhere, or I have to hang on the board and basically cause the paramedics to come out because everybody's freaked out something's going to happen.
Good description, because the shaking is real, and like the fear is, I could feel it in my gut right now. But really, you're just kind of looking over the edge. Everything feels gigantic to you when you're doing this for the first time as a kid or whatever, even if you're doing this now. And then you just have to take the leap of faith that you're not going to hit, obviously you're going to actually hit the water, and you're going to be just fine.
That was bad. That was an American who landed and his feet kind of banged on the water when they landed. So this is tough to watch. By the way, it's anybody that has ever been in a pool with a high diving board. Some people didn't care. Some had no fears, and they could just jump off of there. Others, like us, a little bit of a different story, especially when you're a little kid. All right, 33 past. We got more in a moment, including a phone call to get to, but let's go right now over to Michael, standing by with this bottom of the hour Sports Center update.
Michael Plundo here with your bottom of the hour ESPN Sports Center update. Let's get to it. We got an NFL trade earlier today between the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings, as the Cowboys and Vikings agreed to a trade on Friday to exchange cornerbacks whose time had run out with their respective teams. The Cowboys will receive cornerback Andrew Booth Jr., a former second-round pick of the 2022 draft, who only played 11% of the Vikings' defensive snaps over the past 2 seasons. The Vikings will take on cornerback Nashawn Wright, a third-round pick back in 2021, who played in just 22 games with 3 starts and 1 interception. Let's get out to the NFL preseason scoreboard. We got a couple of games here that'll be going on here shortly. The Texans out in Pittsburgh taking on the Steelers. We'll have that at 5 o'clock. That'll be on NFL Network. C.J. Stroud expected to see a drive or 2 with the Texans, and Justin Fields expected to start for the Steelers. The Falcons out in Miami taking on the Dolphins. That game will be on NFL Network as well at 5. And we also got the Eagles and the Ravens at 5:30 out in Baltimore. And let's get out to your baseball scoreboard right now, as a game from earlier today between the Twins and the Guardians, as the Twins able to defeat the Guardians by a score of 4-2. And then out in Los Angeles tonight, we got a good one between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Dodgers, as the Pirates look to stay alive in the NL wildcard race. And then out in Washington, the Angels taking on the Washington Nationals. That game will be at 4:45 in 10 minutes. And then out in Tampa Bay, a little division battle here between the Baltimore Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays. That sets a first pitch to take on at 4:50. That's a look here, ESPN Sports Center update. I'm Michael Plundo.
Appreciate it, Michael. Let's get right back to the phones right now as we continue. 505-6009, our telephone number. Here's Paul, who joins us next. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Hello, fellas. Good afternoon. Good show.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Hey, I was telling Adrian that too bad your guest didn't take any phone calls, because I guess what I want to talk about, I've been following professional soccer in Juarez since like the 80s when they had the Cobras, and then they had another team move in here called the Indios. I'm not mistaken, I think they actually played in a final or semifinal one year. And my question is going to be to you guys or your guests that you had on. What is it going to take for the Bravos management or team to improve their stadium, improve their operation? Because I watch them on TV. They have a lot of games on, Fox channels in Spanish and English.
Yeah.
But it's just like they're stuck. They're in a rut. They're just like, you never see them improve. You want to root for a team, but the product is just not very good. So I don't know if it's because their stadium's probably one of the smallest in the league. They don't have the money to compete with the other clubs. What do you guys think it's going to take, or for them to at least like move up to the middle of the standings? Because the past few years they're always one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the league, and it's just like I'm surprised that fans keep going over there. And I know a lot of times half of the stadium's rooting for the visiting team because in Juarez there's a lot of people from all over Mexico. But what do you guys think is going to take for them to improve that team?
Paul, let me ask you this. When was the last time you were at a match out at Benito Juarez?
Last time I actually went to a match was when what was the name of the team? When the Cobras were playing, probably in the 80s or maybe early 90s.
So you haven't been to the stadium in over 30 years? Okay.
No, I follow the team, but I haven't been to a game.
Okay. Alberto, you go all the time. You tell me, as far as the stadium itself, are the amenities fine for what we're talking about? Do they need a new stadium, in your opinion, and something that maybe could happen down the road? Because I know Paul said he hasn't been, so it's hard for him to talk about it. What about you?
I personally really enjoy going, but I can see where he's coming from. It's not the prettiest stadium. It's not the newest stadium. But on the other hand, to defend the team, they don't own the stadium, right? So they can't just go in there and tear it down or go in there and renovate it as they please. It's just not their stadium to do that with. And so that creates a unique problem for the club, because you don't just want to outright build yourself a new stadium away from this venue, because this venue offers you the unique opportunity to make it an experience for the borderland, because the commute from El Paso is a lot shorter, in my opinion. This is obviously they haven't come out and said this outright, but in my opinion, this is a heavy factor that leads into their decision making with this stadium. Now, eventually, I know it's on their agenda to get a stadium, but as of now, to me personally, this stadium of this size makes sense because you fill it out with the big teams and you get your money's worth. But I do see what he's saying, and a lot of fans do complain that it's not the venue they want to go to, and they complain about the different amenities. But when I sit down and I have a Wendy's brought to me pretty much directly, and a beer brought to me pretty much directly, it's really difficult to complain, because I'm watching a top level team with Wendy's in my hand that I didn't have to get up for. That to me is prime.
And it's different than anything you'll get in the American sports scene. So
definitely.
that is 100% correct. Has the city of Juarez ever talked about trying to upgrade or build a more modern stadium for the club?
As far as I'm concerned, there hasn't been any recent negotiations to bring a new upgraded stadium to the city. As the city just has a lot of other priorities, I'm sure. And if the city government were to try to influence or apply any type of influence to try to bring tax dollars to that, I'm sure that would anger a lot of people in Mexico, and it would rub them the wrong way. So it would have to, in my opinion, come from private money.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes things difficult.
By the way, one thing I will say about Mountain Star, Paul, is that given their business model and what they're trying to accomplish, this is not a group that's looking to not spend money and finish last. Because remember, when you do that, you have to pay millions of dollars in relegation fees to the league. And that's the last thing you want to do if you're any particular club, especially this one. So when it comes to putting that roster together and trying to bring in talent, they're not looking to go cheap and then spend a few $1 million in penalties at the end of the year. They want to try to contend to go to the postseason and play for a playoffs, a playoff championship. So hopefully the new players that have been brought in, combined with the healthy players, and you're seeing it now with their run against MLS, hopefully this carries over into the rest of the season, and you could start seeing this team put together some dubs and some 3-point wins rather than having to struggle the way they have.
Okay, guys. Thanks for your opinion.
Appreciate it, Paul. Thank you. Again, Paul's not alone. there are a lot of people, especially those that go to the games, upset and wanting to see a better commitment. I know they are, but it's not as easy as that. And one of the things we've talked about a lot is I've seen Mexican national team players come and play for FC Juarez that have struggled. It's not always as if they've gone out and tried to, bring in lesser quality talent. They've gone after some and spent a fortune on some big names that haven't always panned out.
And you know what? A really critical thing to analyze about that call and what he said was, I haven't been to the stadium since the 80s, since the Cobras. And now let's take a pause here. The city of Juarez had a team rise to the first division naturally with the player from Juarez on the team. And if that didn't get you out to go out there to support, what is? What is? If this team artificially rose to the ranks, to the first ranks, things are different now. But when the team that one could argue really inspired the city and rallied the city together, you didn't support, my man. So what is it going to take? Reflect. Now, like I ask you, reflect. What do you expect from this team? Because they got to the first division before, naturally.
Yeah.
And they had success, and they had great battles, and they had full stadium. But you didn't go. You haven't gone since the 80s. So what's it going to take for you to go?
That's a great point. There was a time not that long ago where they were the talk of Mexican soccer. People couldn't get enough of this club. And if that didn't move the needle then, how will it ever move? It's a good point.
Yeah, if you don't go support a team that's rising through the second division, going to playoffs in the second division, makes it to the first division, is, like you said, the talk of the town, is the talk of the nation. Mm-hmm. If you're not going to go out to support then it's going to be, in my opinion, even harder now because your expectations are probably just that much more difficult for the team to meet.
505-6009. That is our telephone number as we continue here on Sports Talk. That's 505-6009. When we come back, a photograph that was posted on social media nearly 24 hours ago that has caused a bit of a firestorm amongst our supporters. We'll explain next and talk about the impact that photo has had as we continue right here with Sports Talk Live, 600 ESPN El Paso. We have a couple calls to get to. Also, yesterday after our show, Adrian put on his Twitter handle and X handle a photo that was taken of the two of us with Lou Romano and Mario Mocha. Everybody dressed in New Mexico State gear. And Adrian, this has caused quite the firestorm on social media.
Yeah, I got ratioed out big time, Steve. It was like one quote tweet and 17 likes. No one liked that one right there, except for Mario Mocha and everybody out at New Mexico State with Las Cruces. In fact, I don't know why I haven't sent a screenshot of this to him because it was awesome that he decked us out in some gear. I'm about to wear some FC Juarez gear soon enough, Steve, because we got hooked up thanks to Luis. But, man, the swag that we got from NMSU, I'm not ashamed of it. I'll wear it.
There you go. That's good. I do love some of the comments. Nifty George, you can tell Cappy is terrified. He is about to be pictured in Aggies gear. I thought that one was hilarious. This one comes from someone who is at Unkempt Rocket. And he has a couple of messages to us. Let me start with the first one about Adrian. If you're still listening to radio hosts like Adrian Broadus in 2024, you're lost. Don't even know the guy, but know he's a bum. El Paso needs to stop accepting loser voices. And if it doesn't get any better, here's the same guy with this comment, or maybe it's a female, who knows, whoever Unkempt Rocket is, because they don't have their name and photo, it's just a random handle. But it says, oh, and Steve Kaplowitz is the dumbest man alive, a reflection of El Paso's acceptance of mediocrity. So that, again, is some of the messages we get. Which, by the way, point is this. We don't always get positive things from people. Some people hate us, and that's fine. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. But, Adrian, I sometimes want to paint the complete picture on this radio show rather than hearing people tell us about how great they think the show is and how much they like us. Some just don't, and he doesn't, or she doesn't, whoever that person is.
Yeah, exactly. I laughed at those comments. I mean, hey, we get love, we get hate. We'll take it all. So I love it.
That's right. Let me take this call before the end of the hour. It's Chuco, who joins us on the phone lines right now. Chuco, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good, but I think I was having dinner when I saw that pick, and I almost choked. I was like, what?
I know. You never believed it. Hey, we did a whole show out there, right? And we had. I'm telling you what. Think about what's out there at New Mexico State right now. Not only do you have Mario Mocha, you've got Lou Romano out there selling. So I mean, think about what's happened up the road in Las Cruces.
See, it used to be easier when they were in a different conference. I wouldn't mind rooting for them as long as it wasn't against UTEP.
Yeah.
But now that they're in our conference, believe me, it's totally changed my image and view of them. I mean, they're the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
good.
yeah,
Maybe
it was hard to swallow.
You know what? Maybe the conference reestablishes the rivalry. Maybe that's good more than anything else, because UTEP hasn't had a good conference rival in so long, and now that New Mexico State is a legit neighbor of UTEP in Conference USA, maybe it'll give the rivalry a little bit extra steam.
Oh, it definitely has already on X. I definitely enjoy the banter between the Barstool NMSU account and then the ones that we have here. I mean, it's awesome I mean, you can't help but laugh. It's hilarious.
Good.
And now we're getting Sam Houston State on board. Now we've got something going on with them. So, yeah, no, competition's great.
Did you guys know that, like, 8th grader or 9th grader runs Barstool NMSU? This is, like, basically I'm not kidding about this. This is true.
There's somebody that's like in 8th or 9th grade?
Yeah.
We thought that, but remember this. We originally thought years ago that UTEP Zay was some 30-year-old running the handle.
Very true.
And then we found out he was like 15 and in middle school at the time. So you're 14. I don't even know what it was. But the point is, you never know. But if Barstool NMSU is really like an 8th or 9th grader, that would be perfect.
Yeah, he actually is. And this is like Zay passing the torch, but to the Aggie like rival, okay? So, yeah, this is like the 8th or 9th grade. But the difference is, all this guy does is troll the kid. All he does on the Barstool NMSU account. At least they posted some substance way back when.
So there you go, Chuco. That handle you referenced is run by an 8th or 9th grader.
I figured it, and I'd heard that before. Steve, one last thing.
Yes.
Did you guys hear anything about one of our UTEP softball coaches leaving?
Adrian, you're shaking your head yes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of turnover when it comes to the softball team. There's been a lot of things kind of going on behind the scenes when it comes to this UTEP softball team. Steve, they had a lot of players leave this program, go over to New Mexico State recently.
They did.
And so, yeah, I've heard through the grapevine this stuff as well.
That's too bad. Well, Chuco, we'll try to get some more information on it and pass it along as we have it. We do know that the Aggies basically took UTEP's best freshman pitcher away and took her sister and cousin with her as well. So, yeah, and that was not an easy that was a tough loss for the Miners for sure. Cowboys update coming up, top of the hour. We've got one to go. Stay with us. Story time with Hags a little bit later as we continue. Start of hour number 2 on the program. Welcome back, everybody. We've also got Michael Plundo here. The Plundo Farewell Tour is nearly coming to an end. Next week will be the final week for Michael before he heads back to college at Lubbock. By the way, I've heard that there was a restaurant that came very highly recommended in Lubbock from Brad Taylor, who also has a son going to Lubbock in tech just like you are. He said the best Italian food he's tasted
I think I know
Lubbock
where this is going.
is at a place called Stella's.
Yes, that's Stella's. Very good place. Been there a couple of times. I've highly recommend it to anyone that's in Lubbock for just a weekend or whatever. I think it's a very good place.
Well, he said the same thing. In fact, what he said is that they're from New York, and they moved like 20 years ago to Lubbock straight from New York, and just essentially put together, the same kind of Italian you would get there in Lubbock. So it sounds to me like, Adrian, we might need to take a trip to Lubbock one day, broadcast from Plundo's dorm or apartment, and go eat our way through Lubbock because there's some good spots.
Yeah, I remember when Michael first told us of this place, which really caught me off guard. I was thinking to myself, wait a second, what? There's a place like that in Lubbock? And the fact that now we get extra validation from Brad Taylor on this one right here, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we got to, how crazy would it be? You get the sleeping bag, I get the sleeping bag, and we just go crash in Michael Plundo's dorm or something like that.
No, we're getting a hotel. If I have to pay for it, we'll get a hotel. That's fine. We're not going to crash. I'm 51. I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not going to go do that and think that I'm back in college, going to sleep in some sleeping bag. No. Those days are long gone.
What about if they had a couch or something, like a frat house, something like that?
I don't know.
I got a 2-story townhome that I'm going to be living in, so there's room, Steve. There's room.
Are there beds or couches or something like that?
Yep, there's couches too. It's a much bigger couch compared to my last year. So
I have slept on. Listen, I've slept on couches. I've slept on chairs. I've slept on floors. I've slept on waterbeds. Anything you might imagine, I've had a chance to do over the years. That's what's happening. By the way, I'm excited about what's about to happen because there's an individual that just walked into this rate, 2 people actually, that I haven't seen in forever. And I mean forever, because the last time I saw this gentleman, he was with the person right next to him. And when I heard the news that George Jimenez became a cop and then later on a detective, I didn't even know this. I didn't find this out until this morning. I just figured you're still just doing comedy all over the country and have other plans. You're actually one of our finest.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Steve, it's great to be here.
It's so true. And that voice means only one thing. That's Chris Kid Reed, who hasn't been to this radio station, and at least until he was here this morning, but he hasn't been with us.
That's true.
How many years since you were last here?
Wait, you know what? Hold up. We were talking about it earlier. It's like in the past, you were always on a remote.
Yes.
So I don't know if I've ever been here.
We've been here, but we used to always do the call-in. Because back in the day, Steve, remember, you used to have to, you would get me on here to cover for you when you were out of town and stuff like that.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
You have done the show.
Yes, I've done the show. I've hosted the show, and I would always bring you and Greg Foster. Those are my 2 dudes that I would always
Greg
bring
Foster.
on.
Yeah. Light skin. Yeah.
That's right. Light skin is the best way to put it. And by the way, you used to come into town for the Ray Mickens Celebrity Golf Tournament.
Yes,
you know what? I would try to get to El Paso any way I could. It would be Ray Mickens. It would be something George or you were doing,
That's
or
right.
it would be, via the infamous Bart Reed. We would get here. But that's the reason, I love this town because it's about the people. The people are really great. So Steve, that loves to talk about the Mets.
New York sports, for that matter. By the way, I thought of you when the Knicks were winning last year because I said nobody has suffered longer than Chris. Because
so true.
You've got just a few years on me, but as a New York
What you saying?
fan,
I just got a few years left. What did you say? What you say?
all I know is this:
both things can be true.
What year was their last championship?
When they won?
Knicks. Yeah, when they won it all.
1973.
Thank you very much. You were a kid in those days.
I was a child. I was
That's right.
child of interracial parents, and it was a tough time.
Yeah,
on my block.
Well, you know what?
Chris is biracial. Biracial.
That's right. That is right. George, how you been?
Steve, I've been doing great, man. It's good to be here. I haven't done comedy in a long time, but
we breaking him out this weekend.
Yeah.
He's dusting it off.
Yeah, I am.
Oh man, I'm excited about George doing stepping back to the stage.
Yeah.
Because we did so many shows together back in the days before he decided to become 5-0.
That's right.
It was a shocker.
I know. I've been a cop for 9 years now, so
what's the transition like? What is that? Do you use things from your comedic life?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
And what might that be?
Because when you have the gift of gab,
yes,
that's what it is. It's all interaction, in anything you do in life, right?
Well,
So when you're out there and you're answering calls and you're talking to these dudes, like it's the same interaction as when you
keep
have
them engaged.
Yes,
engaged.
Yes.
But aren't you a detective?
Yes.
So you have to be serious. You can't crack jokes.
I promise you, there's no jokes.
You
No
can't-
jokes,
You
Steve.
can't crack jokes if you're a detective.
No,
It's a serious life.
Absolutely.
So how often when you're coming and you're doing detective work, do jokes start to come into your brain and you're like, oh, no, brain behave be good. I can't
So
say that.
what I do is I take a little side note. I have like little notes, and I'll show you right now, Steve. But here's the deal, man, is that comedy for me was serious, right? Like for the crowd, it's funny. Yeah. But for me, it's serious work. Like, it's a craft. Like, we're wordsmiths. We were talking about this earlier. Like, when you're there and you're writing a joke, it's something that you really, really, like, give your whole heart and soul into. And the crowd's going to laugh about it. But for me, I'm selling it. So the same thing as a cop. Like, that's what I'm doing. It's a job. It's work. It's what you do, Steve.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
100% what you do.
You got somebody in the box.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. You're questioning them.
It's what you do. You've been doing this for a long time, Steve.
I love interviewing.
Right.
Love
what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Steve want to get to the gist.
To the good stuff.
To the good stuff.
That's
but
right.
you got to prepare and you got to be on your game.
Yeah, you do. That's
How long
a
have you
good
been
point.
doing this, Steve?
29 years.
29 years. Right?
Kid just did a double take. Yes.
I know, right? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
29 years.
29 years. Actually, 32
we've
if
known
you count
Steve
college.
for 20. We've known Steve for 20 of them.
No, Steve is tight with his. But guess what? Sometimes, Steve, you have to ask the tough questions, right?
100%.
Did you cork your bat?
That's right. I wonder how many people
asked Albert Bell.
I wouldn't have survived the answer to that question.
Exactly.
I've met Albert
Right.
Bell.
Is there questions that you wanted to ask but didn't?
That's right.
So how did it go yesterday on the tequila thing?
Oh, we had a great time.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys taste some of it?
Yeah, we did after the
Absolutely.
show. Good stuff.
Yeah.
We had some jalapeno. We had like a drink that was like a spicy drink with the tequila. That was very good too.
It did. Tequila taste. That's why Steve lives a better life than we do.
It was that no. You had like a taste test.
We were at a place called Elephant Ranch in Las Cruces. The Aggies at New Mexico State have their own tequila. They launched it yesterday, a Blanco tequila for the New Mexico State. And we were there for that.
Did you partake?
We did. After the show, you better believe we did.
You know
That's
Steve's
right.
going to be in there.
By the way, I got to tell you, this is what's happened since we last saw each other, okay? Now, I drink tequila. And I like to, I don't shoot tequila. I sip it and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I drink tequila
Like
the way
a boss.
Exactly. The way it was meant to be had.
You're not chugging it.
No. Those days are over.
Yeah,
now
that's
we want to sip on it.
That's
So do you enjoy good smooth tequila?
Totally.
You know.
So hey, guess what? I just came from LA. We just had a big earthquake. I think it was yesterday or the day before.
How big?
5.2.
Okay, that's good size. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good size. Yeah. He said, "Pause." but
Yeah, tequila's always part of the equation here.
Well, in El Paso especially.
Have you ever drank so much tequila you start bleeding from one of your eyes?
What?
Oh no, just me. So that happened to me. That's why I don't shoot it like that, because I had a blood tear coming out of my eye, like a blear.
What,
and then these two chicks at the bar was like, "Mira, es un santo, es San Patron."
Now, it was a sign. It was a sign.
Yeah. So they thought I was a saint.
Now, listen, boys, when we come back, I want to talk about the reason that you're all here, because we have a big event coming up tomorrow night. In fact, yes, exactly. This is for the El Paso Municipal Police Officers Association Code 3 comedy show. We've got a lot of people in town. This starts at 7:30. Let's talk about it. Because
and we're going to give some tickets away, Steve.
Fantastic. I love that. All right. More with George, more with Kid, and more of us as we keep things moving. First, though, let's go to Charlie 1 and get ourselves this traffic update. Back on Sports Talk as we continue. All right, we've got a special treat for you right now. We've got Christopher Kid Reed back in town. Chris is here with George Jimenez as well. The Code 3 comedy show going to be coming up tomorrow night to benefit the El Paso Municipal Police Officers Association. This is going to be at the Officers Association Memorial Hall, 3601 Ruther Glen in El Paso. Doors open at 6:30 tomorrow. Show times are going to be 2 shows, 7:30 and 9:30. And Gibbs is going to be there with you along with Joe Rosales. You got a lot of good stuff coming up.
So Steve, so I've been a cop for a while, and what we're doing now is that we're just incorporating comedy into trying to make money for some of the funds that we're trying to do for our association. So this is benefiting the Ben Ayala Scholarship Fund. All the proceeds from the show go to scholarships for police officers' kids that are going to college. Okay. So we want to further education for our kids and for all police officer kids. So that's what we're doing. So all the proceeds go to that.
So this is what we call it. We call it partying with a purpose.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we're gonna party. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna make fun of ourselves and whatever's going on. But at the same time, it's going for a great cause. And look, any opportunity that I get to come to El Paso, I didn't realize I haven't been here for that long.
I know.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Are you serious?
It has. When I texted you earlier, when I heard you coming into town.
Really?
Yeah, matter of fact, when you returned my text, I was like, oh, thank God he still has my cell number. I knew who I was.
Right. He's still alive.
That's exactly.
I know.
First thing, honestly, Cappy, the first thing that when I called you, right, I was like, can we do this can we do this thing in El Paso? And he goes,
what I said?
Well, are we going to talk sports?
Yeah, we're going to go to the Cap. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So we'll talk sports in a bit. So there's 2 shows, 7:30, 9:30. We're going to be giving out some tickets. So can we do that? Can we do two packs of 2 tickets?
Sure. So you want to do it like a pair for the 7:30 show and then a pair for the 9:30 show?
We can do 2 7:30.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do 2 for the 7:30 show.
Yeah.
So
but
we'll
2 and 2.
So we'll do 2 pairs. So we're going to give away for 2 different listeners. They'll each get a pair of tickets for the 7:30 show.
Yeah, that's what I have. I have. We'll do that.
That's what he's got.
What do you want to do? Do you want to do a certain caller? What do you want? How do you want to give them away?
You tell me, Steve.
You're the guest, and you're giving me the tickets. Whatever you want to do. I don't care.
Let's do this.
Do you want to play kid trivia?
Yeah, kid trivia. Let's do that. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
So
let me think here.
House party trivia. How about that?
Okay, you know what? Let's do house party trivia. You throw out a trivia question, and we'll see who answers the question right.
Okay. How about this? Real quick off the dome. Okay. We talking about the original house party, right? All right. I had a father that was rough, tough, rugged, and raw. What was the father's name?
The actor or his name in the film?
The actor. No, his name. His name as a human being.
Oh, you want his real name, not his
real name.
Okay.
Yeah, what did he used to say? He used to say his government name.
White
people never have to go through that. White people be like, what do you mean my government name? That's my name. Black people like, that's my government name.
All right, here's what we're going to do. If you call into the show, Adrian, we'll let them guess live on air, and then we'll let kids say if they're right or wrong. We'll do it like that. So we'll just put callers on.
We doing live action with
Adrian's already on the phone. You see Adrian right there on the phone already?
We've already got our first. Who's going to be our first person up? Who do we have on?
They working.
Adrian's already trying to get people guessing.
Steve has a gang that is working furiously.
Okay. We got Chris. Oh, well, hey, look, another Chris coming on the show. How about that? Chris with Chris. There we go.
That's a tocayo.
Really?
Yeah, his name is Chris.
Let's go.
All right. Chris, how well do you know house party trivia?
I'll give it a try.
All right, go ahead, Chris. What was the name of the actor who played Kid's dad in the house party, the original?
John Witherspoon.
John Witherspoon, Kid.
Nope, that's incorrect.
Friday.
John Witherspoon was in the movie. He was the next door neighbor.
Friday, right? Is that
yeah,
Friday?
the dude from Friday, like bam, 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 and all this and that, right?
Yeah.
He was in the movie. Now you was adjacent, but nah. He was the neighbor, not the father.
Good try. We'll keep this up, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm curious, by the way. When was the last time you did a set at a comedy show?
That's a great question, Steve.
Both of you.
It's been 2 years for me.
2 years.
2 years. I don't do this often. Okay. They came up to me. The association asked me like if we could do this comedy show to raise money, and I said, hey, if it's gonna be,
he's like, I'll get back out on the field. I'll do it
every time I try to leave. they pull me back in.
Right. But I can say this. As a friend and a fan of George's over the years, I always told George, I was like, dude, you're like, you got it. Come to L.A., do this, that, and the third, da 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 da. But he didn't want to do that. You know, his heart was here. His heart was in El Paso. So he stayed in El Paso, and then, like, trust me, when he called me and said, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna be a cop," I'm like, "What?"
What made you decide you wanted to be a cop?
You know what, Steve? And it's funny because you have that playing in the background right now.
Look at that.
Yeah. It's
joineppd.com.
Join EPPD. Yeah. Absolutely. So I come from a family like of my dad was a Marine, you know. So my brother's been a Border Patrol agent for over 30 years. I mean, I was always a fan of, like, we would always talk about the true crime shows and stuff like that. So that was always my thing. You know my buddy Mark?
I do know Mark very well, yes.
He's been a cop for almost 40 years.
I know Mark I didn't even realize it, because whenever I see Mark in here, and I'm like thinking to myself, is this the same guy I see in uniform?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Over 40 years.
Yes.
I mean, almost 40, right?
Yeah, when he got
almost 40.
Yeah, when he got that blick on him. Hey.
So the whole thing for me was, I had a kid. You know, I have a little girl, Sarah Bell. That's my daughter. When she was born, I was like, you got to have like some purpose.
You got to get solid.
Yeah, some purpose. That was my. I think that's the best word is purpose. Yeah. You know,
ain't nothing solid about this comic stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not as solid as.
Yeah,
what
I was traveling all the time, and I couldn't see her all the time. So for me, it was like, I've always been that guy that just was centered into, like, having a tie to the community, having a tie to what is deeper in life, right?
Totally.
So.
He did it. I was like,
I was 39 years old, Steve, when I graduated from the El Paso Police Academy. 39.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for his service. Thank you, Mark, as well. And to all the police officers listening. I mean, I have more respect for those people that protect us than anybody else.
Well, it wasn't an easy.
I mean, and to me, you know, me as a friend on the outside looking in, I was just like, okay, well. It happened. To me, it seemed really organic, because that's not what his plan was. A lot of times, dudes, they plan that. You know what I mean? They coming out 21, 22, and they get in the academy. You know, this and that. But that wasn't that. So I was like, all right, well, he's going to be the funniest police officer that ever lived. I know that.
So I did almost 3 years on patrol, and I've been a detective for. Like the last 6.
No, this dude is a DT.
By the way, do you love being a detective? Is it awesome for you?
Yeah, you know, so I did homicide for 4 years, and then now I'm at crimes against children. So for me, major crimes is like what my calling is, man. That's what we do. Like, people always say all the time, like, how do you do it? It's hard, whatever. But there's a purpose to it. You know what I'm saying? It's necessary work.
I'm happy you found it. That's important. It really is. Some people never do find their purpose,
and that's what it is, Steve. And you know, and that's why you always keep coming back, Steve, because we know what you do here.
And I want to say this too about Kid. Okay, the truth is this: comedians, when you strike it like he struck, that's a 1 in a million shot. People have to understand that that there are so many people trying to either break in and do what you guys do. And the lucky ones are the ones that actually get a chance to make it. And you did it based on everything. Now, listen, you have skill, you have talent, but you tell me, as somebody who, this movie came out 34 years ago, you were already popular before House Party, but it helped launch you. How much was it in the right place, right time for you?
You know, you can't even quantify it. You know what I mean? Like, it was all right. For example, to your point, we were already making records, we were selling records. You know, we were popular. I mean, that's how we got the movie in the first place. You know, because they thought we was on the come up. Mm-hmm. But then when the movie hits and everything blasts off, that's a turbo booster.
It is. That's exactly right.
And it has been. Man, I don't even know. I'm appreciative of it, and it still blows your mind when people to this day, people that you wouldn't even expect. Look, come up. Oh man, this is.
We were at the hotel earlier,
Yeah,
and
right.
people were like, "I grew up on you, man." Like
everybody grew up and-
They're like, "I grew up on you." Like dudes, like random people, just walking up on him and saying that. I brought him by work today, and everybody was like,
Right.
"Dude, do you still have the high top fade or whatever?" You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
it's in the car. It's in the car.
All right, look,
I keep it in the car.
we're still looking for an answer on trivia today.
I know, right?
Kid threw a
Let's
good
go.
one out. Just wants to know the name of the actor who played his father in the House Party.
That's right. Yeah, or we could do anything. We could do Mets trivia.
No,
Then
well,
you would
this is
always
good.
get me on.
It's a good one.
By
It's a
the
good
way,
one.
was he? Give us a clue. Was he back in the sequel, or was he a one and done?
He was a one
One
and
and
done
done.
because check this out. The guy, he was a great actor. He died,
And a comedian.
and a comedian, great stand-up comedian. He died like a couple of weeks after the movie dropped.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's yeah. I think somebody will get it. But he was a great man, and he was great to work with. And he was in other movies. Beyond that, he was in Do the Right Thing. And,
Daddy's Kids.
Yeah, Bebe's Kids.
Bebe's
yeah,
Kids,
he was
yeah.
also in. Yeah, he was also the subject of Bebe's Kids. So yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna get somebody. I know somebody in El
Somebody's gonna
Paso
get
got to know
Some-
what's going
some-
on.
Somebody's going to get it. 505-6009. We'll talk some New York sports next with
Ooh,
Chris Kidreed.
I
and
dare you.
George Jimenez. No, we're going to talk about there's some good things happening right now around the New York sports teams. But before we do that, let's get one last Sports Center update. Michael standing by, bottom of the hour as we
ba 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 ba.
Story time with Hags a little bit later. Trivia quiz is out there from Chris Kidreed. He wants to know who played his dad in the original House Party. And joining us right now is taking a shot at this is James Brown, who's got a guess for us. James, how are you?
James
Oh, I'm doing all right. How y'all doing today?
Doing well, thanks, James.
What up, bro? Shot.
What's going on? Hey, that's an easy question, man.
Then give us the easy answer.
Robin Harris.
Yup. So right.
That's what he said. It's an easy answer.
You got to pay that man. Pay that man.
We are going to pay that man. James, you're going to be going to watch the comedy show tomorrow night, the 7:30
pull up.
show.
All right, great. Looking forward to it.
Wait, not. It sounds like you know a little bit about Robin Harris. Like you were familiar with him already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a remembrance about Robin Harris because he was a great dude.
I know you might got me a little bit, but
You remember him in the movie though,
Baby
right?
Kid. Yeah, I remember him.
He
Baby
pulled out that
Kid.
belt. He pulled out that belt.
Sick of this shit.
All right, let's use that delay button. That would be good. I like that. That was right on cue. Hang on, James. We're going to get you all hooked up and get you ready to get that. Let's get James' information. What? So, Adrian, we can get those tickets out to him and go from there. That was good.
You know what?
You queued James up perfectly on that.
is in the community. He's in the community.
I like that one. In fact, I haven't had Adrian across the glass try to get the dump button on this show in quite a while. So that worked out perfect.
It's usually when you're all worked up, Steve, because I listen to you every day on the way home.
I appreciate
So
it.
usually you get worked up on some things.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was good. As soon as he said it, I immediately looked at Adrian, and he's scrambling to hit the button. So that's the nice thing
No
is,
scramble whatsoever.
yeah, the delay button is perfect. Well, James Brown's our winner. Congratulations for that. We'll do one
James
more
Brown.
pair of tickets after the before we end the show. Now, guys, I got to ask you this. Okay, New York sports wise, right?
Come on.
Knicks had a great run. So did the Rangers, for that matter. They both had great runs.
They did. Came up short. But,
Right now, baseball season.
Ooh.
Yankees and Mets. Who do you think has a better chance heading into the postseason?
I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I'm a Mets fan. You know, I grew up right near Shea Stadium.
Yep.
Back in the days. But it would have to be the Yankees. The Yankees have the two best players. They have Aaron Judge. They have Juan Soto. And they just added Jazz Chisholm.
Yep, he's been terrific.
And he's given them like a boost of energy. And you'd have to give it to them. And I don't know, man. As far as the Mets are concerned, like, we were struggling, and then we hit like a lick. July was like a good month,
great month,
but we're not. Yeah, but we're not consistent, and you can't be. You're not going to win if you're not consistent. So I would put it on the Yankees. My older brother, my favorite brother, he's a Yankee fan, so he's happy right now. So it looks like things are turning around right there. Yeah. And George is Yankees and Cowboys. Like, every year George wants to come like, this is our year. Especially with the Cowboys.
I'm a big Yankee. If I would have had my choice, my daughter would have been named Mattingly.
Really?
I tried.
Why don't you just call her Maddie? For Mattingly, you could have called her Maddie.
I tried. I tried, Steve. I tried. So I had this deal with my baby mama, right? That if she was a daughter, she would pick the name. And if she was a son, I would pick the name.
Okay.
So I was going to name her Haskins if she was a boy, right? Because that's my dude. Don Haskins.
The greatest, yeah.
Yes,
the bear.
Absolutely.
That's right.
But when she was born, she was a girl, right? So I tried for Mattingly, and it didn't happen. So
Did you ever get
Sarah
close?
Bell.
Oh, so you went from
Right.
how'd you go from Mattingly to Sarah Bell?
That's mom. That's mom. But it's because
Did you make was her middle name Mattingly?
No, it's
Sarah
Lacey.
Bell Mattingly.
It's Lacey.
Her middle name is child support.
My daughter's like I'm Mexican and her mom's white, so we had to go half and half. We had to do a compromise. So that's why my daughter has a white first name and a Mexican last name.
I like that.
Yeah. So she's a little halfer.
How old's your daughter now?
She's 13 now.
Good
Steve.
for you. Congratulations.
13.
Almost the same age as my son. I like that.
In her dad's or my footsteps, she's a anchor for her middle school TV show.
Oh, really?
Pony TV.
They got a TV show.
Yeah, they got a TV show. It's
What do
called
they
Pony
talk
TV.
about? What do they talk about?
It's just their
Do we talk? They be talking greasy.
MacArthur
they be
Middle
talking
School.
greasy about each other.
I'm gonna do a shout out to my kid, MacArthur Middle School. She's the anchor for Pony TV.
Good stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
bet.
yeah,
That's right.
So I told her I was coming here today. She thought that was the coolest thing ever. She's like,
she's-
"Dad, you're so cool. You're going on the radio. You're going to be there. That's what I want to do."
And you gave her a shout out live on the air. Look at
Absolutely.
that. A shout out.
Yes.
You better be listening.
Yes.
Better, that's right. Football season's right around the corner.
Football season's around the corner, Cap, and I'm a New York Giants fan.
How'd you grow up by Shea and you're not a Jets fan, considering they won the Super Bowl when you were a kid?
Yeah.
What happened with that? You are the name
I
it
don't
fan?
know. It goes kind of weirdo, right? But I end up with the Giants.
Okay.
And we're not looking good.
Well, that was a Bill Parcells era when you were coming.
Yeah,
up.
that was a great time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not the time right now. You know what I mean? We're looking rusty. We look the quarterback. Our quarterback is sus. He's sus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We let our best player go away for free.
Yeah, to the
Saquon
rivals.
Barkley.
To the rivals.
To
The
the
Eagles,
rivals
right?
in the
That's
division.
right.
I don't
Yes.
know who does that.
The Giants.
We do that exactly.
Yeah.
And then they were on Hard Knocks. I don't even watch it because
Good.
I don't support.
It'd make you sick. If you watch Hard Knocks, you'd see how dumb they were losing the play to begin with. You don't want to watch that.
I didn't even watch Hard Knocks because it lets you into the brains of the people that made all these bad decisions.
You know what?
So-
we need to go watch a Knick game together at the Garden next year
I
and
would
go
love to.
hang out when they're. You'll be on Celebrity Row. I'll just be happy to be at the Garden next year. That'll be fun.
Now we'll both be
have a good time.
both be up in the Blues. You know the Blues.
Yeah, the
We'll
Blues,
be
I
up
know
in the
very-
Blues.
that's about all I
It
can
doesn't matter,
afford.
but you know what? It's great. At least the way the Knicks are right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying there's a chance.
That's right.
Even if you're in the building, you know
You're
what I mean.
saying,
Oh, by the way,
saying there's a chance.
Let me
that's what
say
I said
this.
with Aaron.
Jalen Brunson is the most excited I've been about a Knicks player probably since the year they drafted Ewing. You have to go all the way back to about 85.
That's going way back.
Yeah,
with
you
the
know what?
frozen
The guy-
envelope in the draft.
The
That's right.
dude came there unheralded. Be honest, you know what I mean. Dallas didn't want to pay him. We gave him a decent contract. It's not like it's a blow. Not like it wasn't a crazy contract.
No.
Now we know they gave him he's really finna get paid now.
But he took less money to try to
Took
make them
less
get better.
money.
I
He
love
took
that.
Yeah, but look how they styled it.
That's right.
The father was already on the staff.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Smart
so
move.
There was a little insider trading going on.
I like that.
But so what? And everybody thought, it's not a really big free agent signing. And look what the dude did. He took us from obscurity to a really place, a competitive place. Now we got Mikal Bridges. Julius Randle is going to come back healthy. Hopefully he can fit into the framework. You know what I mean? Man, and at least there's excitement. There's excitement at the Garden. The celebrities are coming back.
That's right.
Matthew Modine is in the house.
Matthew Modine.
When you're dusting off Matthew Modine, you realize
Tracy Morgan is in the house.
Yeah, and you got Ben Stiller sitting
Derek
courtside.
Jeter is in the house. Ben Stiller is in the house.
That's right. Well, now we need Chris Kid Reed to get back in the house.
I know. It's very expensive.
It is.
Well, Chris lives in L.A. now. He
I
left.
know he does. That's why I'm saying.
Yeah, I got to wait till they come to L.A.
to Staples. That's right.
And then ask Bill Maher to bring me.
Oh, my God.
I have to ask my famous white friends.
Code 3 Comedy Show. It's going to be Kid Reed, George Jimenez, featuring Gibbsod and Joe Rosales.
Yeah,
good show.
So two shows, 7:30 and 9:30. Doors open at 6:30. So it all goes to our scholarship fund. It's a great cause. We've got a few tickets left. I think we have, I don't know, like 30 or something like that for the early show, and like another 50 for the late show. So it's going to be a great show. There's going to be cocktails.
Yeah, you can pull up. Don't roll up. Don't wait till the last minute. You know what I mean? Don't wait till the last minute. But yeah, man, the shows have been going great.
So it's open to the public. We want to make sure everybody knows that it's open to the public. We're going to have some beers. We're going to have some shots. We're going to do all that, responsibly, Steve,
What's the easiest way to get tickets?
The easiest way to get tickets right now is to call 333-4455.
That's the easiest number to remember ever.
Yeah, I know. I picked it on purpose.
Good. I like that number.
333-4455.
Fantastic.
That's it. That's the way to get tickets. You can call there. You can come up to the door. We'll have tickets there, and then we're going to give out two pairs of two, right?
2 and 2.
We're doing that. We're doing
Why
that.
not? Yeah.
So we got another set of tickets to give away.
Well, here's the thing. I got to break and end the show. So how do you want to give away these last pair? What do you want to do this time?
That's a good question.
Steve, you call it.
Okay.
Let me think for a second. Okay. Who was Chris Reed's first favorite athlete growing up in New York City?
Oh, that's great. Oh.
Do you know the answer? Because I don't. I'm hoping you do. And don't tell anybody. Then we'll see if somebody can guess.
What? I do know the answer to that.
All right. I think I do know the answer, too. Let's see if you and I are on the same page. We'll do that during the break. All right. Just think, folks. He was growing up in the late 60s, but in the 70s.
In New York. Yeah.
In New York.
70s.
That's right. You don't
Wait,
count,
can I give him a little hint?
Yes.
Okay, this is an athlete. He used to wear Pumas.
Okay.
Earl the Gilt Manigault.
No.
Okay. I just saw that documentary.
He gave the hint. He used to wear Pumas. All right. 505-6009. Think New York sports, folks, in the early 70s, early to mid 70s. Mid to late. What do you want to do? You want to go with a certain era? What are we talking about?
No, we're talking about the 70s.
70s.
Mid-70s.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. That was my time.
My
too.
favorite. He's a basketball player.
Please. I was going to wait till I tell you who I was.
I know. You
All right.
know.
We'll come back. 505-6009 to wrap things up with story time here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Thanks, guys.